We are True Crime Online. Emergency or execution? Killed on a 911 call. The case of Bree Kuhn. The incident. On the morning of the 8th of September 2021, Bree Kuhn and Colin Turner argue over parenting decisions, specifically about Turner wanting to take their children out of state. 2:53 p.m. Kuhn calls 911, reporting the argument to law enforcement. Deputies respond to the address but find no signs of violence or distress and leave after a brief investigation. 5 p.m. Turner then calls 911, stating that the couple is arguing again. Deputies arrive but once again find nothing alarming and leave. 6:22 p.m. In a third call, Turner informs the dispatcher that he is locked in the garage. During this call, gunshots are heard, and Turner exclaims, "She just shot me." Here is that 911 call.
Office emergency.
Hi, you guys have been out to my house twice today, and then most recently the deputy talked my wife into letting me in the house, and then she locked me in the garage, and I tried to break my arm when I was trying to get back inside.
What's your address, sir?
Drive. She's currently got me locked in the garage because earlier she broke both of the big doors, and then when I came out here to fix it after getting in the house earlier, she locked the door behind me. And then when I tried to...
What was that?
She just shot me!
Oh, I'm shooting with somebody. She's driving. She just shot him. I just heard 4 shots. Sir, are you there? So we need to get somebody there. He's not answering.
6:26 p.m. Deputies arrive at the scene and discover Turner dead from 4 gunshot wounds. Kuhn was found in shock. Kuhn told the first officers who arrived at the scene, "I shot him. I just shot my husband." While she readily admitted to firing the shots, she told detectives that Turner had wanted to take the kids and leave, and she was blocking him from entering the home. She said that Turner had kicked her foot, prompting her to open fire. Kuhn is taken into custody and emotionally tells investigators during a police interview that she shot and killed her husband in self-defense after locking him out of the house. Bree Kuhn, of Gulf Breeze, Florida, a suburb of Pensacola, was arrested Wednesday night and charged with first-degree premeditated murder in the death of Colin James Turner, 34. Police say the couple's 3 children were inside the house during the shooting, but authorities said they did not witness the fatal act. He said 2 children were placed in the custody of the Florida Department of Children and Families, while a 3rd child was turned over to the biological father. The case. In the trial of Bree Kuhn, State Attorney Mark Alderman said, based on the circumstances and the physical evidence, that would indicate this was a conscious decision to kill. He said this about the decision to charge Kuhn with first-degree murder before the trial started. The prosecution focused on the premeditated nature of the murder, and emphasized that Kuhn had intentionally locked her husband in the garage and then shot him 4 times while he was on the phone to 911. The prosecution highlighted that Turner was pleading for help during the call, which they used as evidence of Kuhn's intent to kill. They portrayed the incident as a clear case of domestic violence escalating to murder. The defense argument centered on her claims of self-defense and the psychological impact of her alleged experiences as a victim of domestic violence. Kuhn's attorney suggested that she acted out of fear for her safety and her children's safety, asserting that she perceived her husband as a threat. Kuhn's attorney filed a notice of intent to rely on a battered spouse syndrome defense. But the plan to use the defense fell apart as Kuhn ultimately decided not to testify, which forced the defense to rest their case because they could not call a psychological expert to testify about her examinations without the defendant's testimony. The prosecution presented evidence that showed Turner had text messaged Kuhn's ex-partner starting at 12:55 p.m. and ending just before he was shot. The text messages stated, Hey man, Bree's losing it. She ran my laptop through the dishwasher last night because I turned the Wi-Fi off. I'm planning on getting out of here with the little kids, but she's already told me she'll press charges if I take Joyner's daughter with me. I don't know what you can do legally, but I wanted to give you a heads up. Joyner's reply, damn dude. I hate that. I'm not sure what to do, but thanks for the heads up. I was really hoping she had gotten better. Turner's response, she got kicked out of 2 group therapies and she skipped her last 2 individual therapies. Still drinking a lot. Joyner then messaged at 1809, everything okay man? Turner response, nah, gonna get worse before it gets better, too. She always told her stories about you and I thought you sucked, but now that I think about it, she's crazy as hell and probably did the same stuff to you. Joyner replies, I definitely had my down days and did my share of wrong in the past, but I'm sure there's plenty more to the stories you don't know, as you can probably see now. Turner's reply, Yoop. She just locked me in the garage because I wouldn't talk to her. Joyner responded, if you ever want to talk, I probably know more about what you're going through than anyone. You were able to keep her happy a lot longer than me, and you somehow have been able to get through to her more than I ever did. No more messages were received from Turner as he had been shot by Kuhn. The medical examiner said that all 4 gunshot wounds were to the victim's back and exited his chest. When cross-examined, he said he could not tell if they were fired in self-defense. For the defense, Kuhn's older brother, Eric, did testify on her behalf, saying he heard his sister talk about Turner's abuse. Battered spouse syndrome. Battered spouse syndrome is a psychological condition resulting from prolonged exposure to domestic violence, leading to severe emotional trauma. It often manifests in feelings of helplessness, anxiety, and depression. Individuals may exhibit learned helplessness, where they believe they cannot escape the abusive situation. This syndrome can be used in court to explain why a victim may have reacted violently in a perceived self-defense situation, helping to contextualize their actions as a response to ongoing trauma. In Florida, the battered spouse defense can be used to argue that a person acted in self-defense due to a history of abuse, leading to a reasonable belief that they faced imminent danger. This defense often relies on expert testimony to establish the psychological impact of the abuse. However, Florida also has a stand your ground law that allows individuals to use deadly force without a duty to retreat if they perceive a threat, complicating the application of the battered spouse defense. Battered spouse syndrome has been successfully used in several high-profile legal cases as a defense strategy. One of the earliest and most notable examples is the case of Francine Hughes Wilson in 1977. After enduring years of severe abuse from her husband, Hughes set fire to his bed while he was asleep, resulting in his death. During her trial, expert testimony on battered woman syndrome helped her claim temporary insanity, and she was ultimately acquitted. Francine said, "For a long time I took it because I thought that's what you're supposed to do." Another significant case was Lorena Bobbitt Gallo in 1993, who infamously severed her husband's member after years of domestic abuse. Her defense successfully argued that she suffered from battered woman syndrome, which led to her being found not guilty by reason of temporary insanity. This case drew widespread media attention and sparked discussions about domestic violence and women's rights. Gallo says, "We're talking about almost 30 years ago. There was no Violence Against Women's Act available. There was no government help to fund shelters. There was no hotline, no internet, no cell phone." These cases illustrate how battered spouse syndrome has been integrated into legal defenses, especially as awareness of domestic violence has increased. Courts have gradually recognized the psychological impacts of prolonged abuse, allowing for a more nuanced understanding of defendants' actions under extreme duress. The verdict. On the 27th of September 2024, Bree Kuhn was convicted of first-degree murder in the death of her husband, Colin Turner. The jury took a little more than 4 hours in deliberating. After the verdict and victim statements, the judge went directly into the penalty phase. Kuhn was sentenced to life in prison. Did the jury get it right? Let us know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching. See you next time for more True Crime Online.